G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Bloodied Submachine gun with 25% faster fire rate for a secondary legendary effect. Quite an unassuming weapon. The stats don't really look too noticeably good unless you go down to the fire rate, 107 fire rate. Yeah, I usually regard something like Bloodied Firerate handmade to be pretty quick at 98, but 107, this thing is going to be blazingly fast. You might notice how it's got the big old drum on it too. So not only will you be firing fast as hell, but you'll have a lot of bullets to be firing. So mag dumping something like a Scorched Beast Queen, if we ever get around to Queen testing this weapon, will be extremely powerful. A lot of the times I've complained about these weapons having a lower capacity, but with the large drum mag with this, we've got what, 62 bullets, which is absolutely massive compared to the 20 we get from the perforating mags usually. Granted, there are some limitations to that, and since the submachine gun doesn't follow the new ways of attachments, it's a little bit bugged in some places actually. I'll call attention to that later, but yeah, since this thing doesn't follow the new Fallout 76 attachment ways, you can't actually get too much in the way of armor penetration without using something like Tank Killer, so that's a definite must-have when you're using this, especially when you're hitting for only 32 base. If we go back over to our handmade, which I remember the button, we gotta find it, there it is. So we're doing 50 damage with this, whereas we're only doing 32 damage with this, but again, that fire rate is gonna bump that DPS up. We'll also notice that this thing's got significantly less range and less accuracy too, so definitely a close range shredding weapon, which shouldn't be too much of a problem in a Queen situation because we're going to be, you know, up close and personal when she lands mag dumping her face, but yeah, it looks fairly promising. This might actually be a sleeper type weapon, so we'll see what we can do. First of all, we've got to chuck some perks onto this, make it look all nice and pretty, or at least prettier when it comes to the damage stat here. Of course, we're going for a stealth commander approach to this. We'll be going to Nerd Rage Threshold soon, and it's almost nighttime, so we'll be able to use the Mr. Sandman Covert Operative to get 3.75 times multiplier, and now we're doing 59, which is only one less than a Blade Explosive, completely unspec'd, which is this one. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm being outpaced a lot in terms of damage per bullet from these other weapons, but I don't know. I know it may look bad, but I still reckon this thing is going to absolutely blitz everything. Okay, so here we are at Nerd Rage Threshold. Also got the Silver Shroud costume on because of context sensitiveness, and there's Nerd Rage, and now we're doing 182, which is not too bad, but as you can tell, we're being very far outpaced by the handmade here. But speaking of attachments, I did mention that I was going to say this earlier, but yeah, Prime Receiver will get us up to almost 200, which is good. That extra damage versus Scorched Beast is nice. I've actually got more Ultrasight 45s. I could totally put that on now. Not now, later. And yeah, for some reason, the short light barrel adds weight, but it also gives you range and accuracy, so it's kind of a must-have anyway. And that's one of the another advantage of a submachine gun type weapon. Normally they'd be lighter, but not in this case. It's kind of weird, but as you can tell, 15 pounds versus what, the 22 that this thing, the handmade is, definitely better in terms of the weight, but that's kind of all I had to go on about. See, there's no perforating or stinging or anything, no armor penetration you can get out of this normally, and I do have all the mods unlocked, as you can see there, so it's weird. I feel like this is a neglected weapon. Okay, so here we are at the Green Cordial headquarters again, and just giving you a quick look at my armor and buffs. Honestly, there's nothing special here, none of that is really all that optimized, but the unyielding bonuses are what I seek to gain from using those armors. I'm not too picky on exactly what unyielding bits there are. As long as I'm getting the massive stat bonuses, I'm okay. Obviously having AP regen would be massive, and also Sentinel perhaps if I wanted to stand there and just tank stuff, but you know, my build is for avoiding damage by sneaking and not taking the hits, so yeah, there's that. So you'll notice how fast this thing is when I'm just firing it. This is definitely a huge cut above the 98 that you'd get out of, and you won't actually see the full sort of damage on this one until we actually get into shooting something like Scorched Beast, because it's really powerful when you factor in stuff like let's say concentrated fire into the mix, and you can just quickly lock on, and this thing barely uses any action points either. Who have I missed? I'm sloppy apparently. Ah, there you are. That'll get us nice and set for adrenaline. I'll just go around this way. Hopefully I won't get killed this time, but we'll see the limitations when it comes to range when we get to that sort of point. I feel like we'll be hitting them a lot harder when they were a little bit closer, but a 2-shot kill isn't too bad. It might even be a 1-shot kill if I manage to land a headshot there. Nah, not quite, but this thing has got the DPS to back it, so you don't have to worry about too many missed shots, especially with the massive drum mag on it. I think quad would definitely be a wasted prefix legendary effect on a submachine gun like this, but yeah, that's kind of the tip of the iceberg, and yeah, I know we're getting out damaged by the handmade, but when you're doing this much damage, against regular mobs, you probably won't have too much of a difference, and we are firing the 45s, which are sort of easier to come by. Arguments could be made for and against that. Discuss that in the comments. Now, I am going to continue to sneak through here because being shot at is not good. So, yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't really know a lot about the submachine gun in this game because, well, there's really never too much of a reason to use it because there are better options here, there, everywhere. Mainly the handmade, but even the assault rifle being an easily accessible weapon because I scrapped many of these during my lesser known times about this, and you actually have to buy the hardened receiver and the armor piercing receiver. You'll get the magazines, the suppressors, the muzzles and everything else using the regular methods of scrapping, and they're dotted about the map. Just look in raider areas, there's usually a couple around corpses, but I'm seeing 924 damage. Doesn't matter if we're not being outdone by the handmade now. It just doesn't matter. I'm getting enough damage on the super mutants to kill them in one shot, so I can't really complain about it. So basically it's going to be cheesing the game like this, and the hipfire is okay. I don't have ground pounder or true or aligned barrels to increase that, but I've got really nothing to complain about. It's interesting why they would leave out this new barrel setup. Everything, like the magazines, everything from the submachine gun. Maybe it's time limitations and they figured out that, you know, maybe people wouldn't actually use this thing all that much. You can tell this thing does penalize you at range with VATS accuracy though. Even that guy was a very low chance of hitting the head from there, whereas a handmade would probably not even break a sweat. And there's where the DPS comes in, that extra little bit of fire, extra 11 on the fire rate stat compared to your standard 75 plus 25% fire rate things. That's where it really comes in handy when you get rushed like that. But you know, if you can control the game and make sure the NPCs don't see you, which is easy enough with 3 ranks of sneak, super high agility and the like, you can get these huge multipliers and you don't have to worry about anything standing in your way. I'm pretty sure we're all fairly in the know about how this does against super mutants, so I don't know, maybe from now on I might just leave the hell room unless the weapon is going to be really overperforming, but I think you get the idea by now. It'll just be the same thing except the super mutants will be in a little bit different. So, you know, I might leave that out. Let me know if that's something you actually want to see, or would you rather let me full send it through it so you can figure out how good the weapons are. But I think with the amount of super mutants we killed, we figured out that we could one-shot them, so I might just leave that out from now on. Let me know what you think. Because with the amount of super mutants I did kill on that last clip, I think you get the idea. It's not like I'm going to be playing it any differently. Nice. Takes a special type of idiot to miss a radroach like that. Anyways, observe the VATS AP usage when it comes to this thing. Like many other submachine gun type weapons, it's incredibly low, which is extremely advantageous. And this thing doesn't even have something like, I don't know, a 25% less VATS per shot bonus on it, which would be absolutely crazy when we're doing this sort of thing, because I would just be able to mag dump and pump so many bullets into the Scorch Beast Queen that it'd be insane. And the amount of criticals I'd be able to bust too, just insane DPS. So, you know, I really think this is a sleeper weapon, something that is generally overlooked for higher damage per shot things, but like I said, once you get into this stealthy approach of the game, it's not going to matter that you're missing out on a couple of 100 points of damage here, at least when in mob situations. I'll have to see exactly how well I do with the Scorch Beast Queen, you know, in comparison to a handmade with this. I feel like the ammo capacity and the extra fire rate, as well as the AP use per shot, is going to be hugely advantageous. But you know, I'm hyping this up a little bit. Hopefully, I don't set myself up for a little bit of disappointment. But yeah, I think we're done with the tools here. I'm gonna go quickly cure my fucking ghoul aids, and then we can move on. Righto, looks like Swan's out on his nightly stroll. I got nothing to add. Best part is, with a mag capacity like this and the damage like this, you'll be very hard pressed to actually need to reload during a firefight, which is extremely advantageous, unless you're completely just mag dumping upon mag dumping this thing, which you're only in one situation you'll ever actually use. But yeah, in Nuclear Winter, the submachine gun is part of the submachine gun class of weapons, which I can't believe I didn't hit that. Anyways, let's look at the pace of this thing. Okay, it took a while for concentrated fire to start working there, but once she got going, she didn't let me down. You better not give me flap limb, you bastard. Anyways, like I was saying, this is a submachine class sort of weapon in Nuclear Winter, and we're kind of being penalized for range here. That doesn't really want to reach out as far, but you've got the high rate of fire automatics. One is a 10mm sub, very, very good close range weapon, and then you've got the submachine gun for the blue variant of it, I suppose, and I don't think there's an epic or legendary variant of that. Great tire iron, nice. Thanks, game, I really appreciate it. But yeah, I like to see the characteristics of the Nuclear Winter weapon reflected here, and I guess I just didn't really know enough about the submachine gun to put that into my mind. I've always thought it was at 75, but I'll have to check a regular non-fire rate one just to see myself that, because I'm pretty sure every one of these weapons had the same rate of fire. But I think I've got an FE one in the stash that I did ages ago, and I haven't really done anything with it. In fact, there's a lot of weapons that are kind of sitting in my stash that I need to get rid of. Do I want to do a Christmas giveaway? Here, have some free script on me, I suppose, because, well, they're not god tier weapons and you probably won't use them for that long. Maybe I should give them all to tier when he moves over to PC. It'll be a Christmas surprise from the Silver Shroud Winter. Okay, the entire video has kind of been leading up to this point, because this is kind of like the prototype, figuring out what this thing can do against monsters. And believe you me, I'm sick of fighting these Scorch dudes all day, but it looks like we've gotten a Santa with a small holiday gift. Sure, I'll open that on video. Let me just find that. It's under S. There it is. We got one. I got a toy car and sugar bombs. That's extremely useful, thanks. But anyways, let's find out where the rest of the Scorched went. I believe they're over here. Now, I've witnessed some odd behavior coming out of these Scorched beasts. Usually, I'd like to kill them, you know, as soon as I see them, but for some reason, they like to spawn if I haven't killed this one yet. There's always the one that just kind of conjures out of thin air. Bit of Skyrim conjuration magic going on here. I didn't know that Todd Howard was such an adept conjurer. That's interesting. Okay, so it looks like haven't managed to spawn that third one, which should have been good, but oh, the pace on this, and only a couple of those shots actually hit too. So wow, okay, this is going to be fast. So like close range at least. And if we want to reach out and tap this guy, oh man, this thing is quick. It's like a little LMG, just without the extra damage, I suppose. I mean, the LMG's got a definite higher DPS, but I don't know, maybe when we factor in the sneak criticals, this does slightly edge out because of that glorious shush tube on the front. But need I say more than this weapon kicks ass? Did you expect this weapon to actually, you know, do that well? And that's a large holiday gift. I'll open that, sure. Where's that? GGL. I got vintage Nuka Shine and a mounted tick, and I'm not sure if that's something that I got out of it or whether that's just something, a legendary thing that dropped. And I think there was another one around here. You gave me a A small holiday gift and an instigating Deathclaw gauntlet. Very nice. You know what? I'll open that too. This video is going to age poorly, but if anyone actually watches it after this thing's over. Damn it. And a plan for a T-51B left leg. That's weird. Anyway, so with that pointless looting out of the way, that there was a Bloodied Firerate Submachine gun. Definitely a sleep weapon. Looking forward to wiping the floor with the Queen with this. You know, I've managed to get the sentences mixed up for wiping the floor and kicking their ass, and sometimes I will say wiping their ass, and that sounds wrong, but I'm glad I didn't say that one today. If you'd like to see this in your game, get your own, hit up Murmur, get some farming, maybe some idiot's got this selling in their vendor. You never know what you might find. I've found like 3-star stuff like 375 caps, and I was just like, score, free script. Thank you for watching, guys.